Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the 7-Minute Takeover, where we chat all things acquisitions. We're your hosts. I'm Liz Prey.
I'm Eamon Gamble. Hi again, and welcome to another episode of Deal Decode with Rob Irwin and myself, Eamon Gamble. Today, we're taking a look at a pretty unique opportunity. Rob, did you have a chance to look at the listing?
Yeah, I did. I think I have the fiscal discipline to take on this challenge, but I'm not sure I could not eat my way through the margins. It's a bakery, so it's pretty interesting with...
And you may be saying to yourself, what's unique about a bakery? We see food service businesses all the time on marketplaces. The one that we've got today has actually been in operations in a town in Vancouver Island in Canada for 70 years, operating since 1955. So I think this business has probably been around longer than most of the people in that town have been alive, which means that they've probably grown up with it as part of their community and see it as a staple in their neighborhood. And it's not every day that we get to look at a business with that kind of legacy. So with that, why don't we dive in?
Yeah, I mean, a couple quick points. The price is reasonable with the earnings at $300,000. They're asking for $800,000. I mean, buyers are typically wary getting into the food service industry, Eamon, but I think you might know something about this industry personally.
Yeah, this one was a bit relevant to me. About 3 years ago, we purchased a coffee shop on Vancouver Island, and so I am curious where this one is located. Ours is in Tofino, but maybe this one's in a bit of a slightly larger metro and maybe less tourist-based by the sound of it. So, you know, there's definitely some pros and cons to buying in the food service business. I'd say one of the pros is that you're going to always have regular foot traffic. Like I said, this is a staple in the community, and so people are just going to show up, and it's going to be pretty predictable. You're going to have predictable foot traffic. You're going to have predictable staffing. Working capital is typically not a problem. You know, you buy the flour, you buy the jam, you put it all together, and you sell it within a couple of days. There's typically no customer or vendor concentration. You know, you can always switch food service providers, and you know, no customer is going to make up more than about 1% of your revenue, and that's going to be probably the guy eating 10 cakes a week, and you love that guy. So on the downside, there are a few drawbacks that keep people away from this sector, and they're very valid reasons, and that may be part of the reason that the asking price seems to be a quite reasonable multiple. You know, the operations can be quite labor intensive. So you do have to have staff that are going to stick around, you know, in a small town. It may be tough to keep good staff motivated and keep them around the operations for a while. It looks like the current owner is quite involved in the baking operations of this business. So if you're not a baker, you may need to have some changes to cost structure. You may have to try and recruit somebody from out of town to come in and be the baker in this business. So it's good that they've got the $300,000 in cash flow, because there may be the need for some cost structure changes. The last things I'll mention is growth can be a bit of a challenge in this sector. You know, if the bakery's already at capacity, the only real way you can grow is by increasing your prices, which the locals probably won't like, or by opening up a new location, which obviously comes with all of its own risks. The barriers to entry can be quite low as well. So if another sandwich shop opens up across the road, that can eat both into your revenue levels and into your margins. So you've got a few real risks that you got to look at when you're buying this type of business.
And yeah, it's great hearing those, but despite those challenges, I do think there are a lot of really positive reasons to take a closer look at this deal. Specifically, I mean, 70 years, that's a long time to have an operating business successfully. And it's a community-based operation. There's a lot of emotion around food and treats, and there's a lot of history that I imagine would be anchoring people to that space. That's a really great thing to maintain legacy. I'm also assuming the menu is still attractive, but If it's not, a menu in a bakery is pretty easy to alter. You can make adjustments as tastes change over time. The 300,000 earnings, like, it gives you a fair bit of flexibility to adjust to changing demographics or challenges in business. And finally, the purchase price is really quite reasonable at three times earnings. What questions should we be posing to the broker to take next steps?
Anyone who's listened to this segment of the podcast will know my first question is always, give me the financial statements. I want to see where the money's flowing. But more specifically in this situation, I want to see what the owner's compensation and what their role in the business is. And if after the acquisition that needs to change, you'll have a better sense of what the actual financials will look like moving forward, which is going to be really important. I'd like to know a little bit more about the demographics of the town. All we know is that it's on Vancouver Island, but there's a big difference between Victoria and Campbell River, and there's a lot smaller towns than those. And so, is the population of the town growing or shrinking? Is there any local industry that might be at risk that would cause issues to that regular foot traffic? Have the community's dietary tastes changed over time, such that sandwiches and cakes maybe aren't the number one thing that people are looking for anymore? So there's a little bit more I'd like to know just about the town itself. And then finally, I'd like to understand the building and the lease. The listing says that the building is leased right now. So is it in need of repair? Is it at risk of being torn down for bigger condos? With food service, location is very important, and so any risk to the current location may be a risk that would cause me to walk away from the deal.
Yeah, and I feel the ideal buyer would be someone really keen on being part of the community or already is part of the community. That would be, I suspect, a key ingredient for success. And if you want to be rolling in dough after your first acquisition, this may be the one for you.
Absolutely. So reach out. I think this one was listed by Chinook Advisors. If you want to learn more, reach out through the Village Wellth platform, and we'll be back to you with another Deal Decode shortly.
Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed the content, please be sure to subscribe, follow us on social media, and check out our website at villagewellth.com.